Hey ladies, we are going to tell it like it is today. Have you ever come across something that was so wrong? You're like, we got to tell everybody what is going on. And I discovered that as my husband and I were traveling through Lake Placid, and we were on the top of the ski jump, and Billy DeMung was up there. And he shared with us some of the inequalities that are going on in women's Olympics. And I'm like, nah, that can't happen. That's not today. And he said, indeed, it is. We already did a part one with him as well. I really encourage you to go back to listen to that. But today we have in front of us women that are trailblazers in the Olympics for generations to come. They are elite athletes for the USA Nordic team. And today's show is called The Upcoming Generation of Olympic Female Athletes. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Shug.
Thanks for having us.
So we've got Anna Hoffman. Anna, would you wave? Anna, we're on YouTube as well, so we know who you are. Paige Jones, would you wave as well? Both of those women are in women's ski jumping. And then we have Annika Malicinski. I hope I said that correctly. And she competes in the Nordic combined. And that's really, get this, where they are not allowing the women to compete in the US in the Olympics. So there is gender inequality, and it is the last Olympic discipline, Nordic combined, yes, you heard me right, that women are still trying to gain a rightful position in the Olympics. Now, here's a little bit of history for you, friends. In 2014, one ski jumping event was added for women. 14. That just seems like yesterday. That just seems wrong that they finally introduced that. In 2017, USA held its first ever women's Nordic combined. Now, what is combined? Combined is where they go down the ski jump, and then they also do cross country immediately thereafter. 2018, Women's Continental Cup is a step below the World Cup, but that's when it was introduced for the women. 2020, Youth Olympic featured a female event. And in December 2020, Tara Gertie Moats, I'm so proud of her, won the first ever Nordic Women's Combined World Cup. But yet it's not the Olympics, friends. I mean, we are right there. We are almost there. I'm bringing this to you because I want you to do whatever you can, listeners, to help promote this sport so women have equality. I mean, can you imagine how these athletes feel when they work so hard and then they find out that the Olympics decided to slam it down and not allow them to compete? There's a new generation coming up, and we need to walk alongside them and encourage them as much as possible. Billy DeMung highlighted to Peter Graves in an interview the fact that women's USA Nordic ski jumping went from 50 to now 300, 400, 500 youth are competing. And women's Nordic ski jumping is now the largest team for women. So what is that telling you, Olympics? Let's get this going and get it started. So ladies, thank you so much for joining me. I'm just going to ask you questions. I want you to all jump in as we go along. Tell us, if you would, a little bit about yourself.
I can go first. My name is Paige Jones. I'm from Park City, Utah. I started ski jumping at age 9. I'm now 19 years old. I am on the women's national team for ski jumping, and I'm currently attending school at the University of Utah.
Well, your plate is full. Thank you very much.
I can go next. I'm Anna Hoffman. I'm from Madison, Wisconsin. I'm 21 years old, and I started ski jumping when I was around 2. And I also am a student at University of Utah with Paige. And yeah, just pleasure to be on the show.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Annika Malicinski. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Steamboat Springs, Colorado, and I started ski jumping when I was 16. I'm currently taking classes through Colorado Mountain College. So yeah.
I don't know how you guys fit it all in. I mean, how long does it take you to practice every day? I mean, I know that as an Olympiad, potential Olympiad, you guys have a lot of training, a lot of work. What time do you have to put in for this?
So on the ski jumping side, at least I can speak upon, we usually have 1 to 2 sessions a day of training, whether it's a workout in a gym or a session on the ski jump. So on days where we only have 1 session, it's usually a 2 to 3 hour long workout or 2 to 3 hour long ski jump. And then, days where we have double sessions, we call them, then it's just double that. And so we do Monday through Friday, and then on Saturdays, we usually ski jump. So we're pretty packed full.
Is that pretty much the same for all of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a little bit different since Nordic Combine is two sports. We're basically competing in two of our passions, but it is put into one game. So I definitely train about 2 times a day for 6 days a week. And that can vary from being in the gym, doing an endurance workout, going for a hike, ski, anything endurance, and then also ski jumping.
And friends, I want you to know that she competed in the Nordic Combined, and she participated in the first ever International Ski Federation Women's Nordic Combined World Cup competition. So we're getting there. And congratulations on that, being that trailblazer in your sport.
Thank you.
So, okay, on the first show, we talked a little bit about inequality. I want to talk on this show about bringing up the next generation of women and potentially reaching the Olympics. You guys just had your training camp. How did you like the new and improved Lake Placid ski complex?
Well, I think it's great. I've always loved jumping in Lake Placid even before they like renovated the hills, but now that they're got an ice track on there and the start gates are a lot bigger, it's really nice.
Do you all agree?
Yeah, the hill was so fun. They re-profiled the hill a little bit to make it more modernized, and they really just hit the nail on the top, and they really just did it perfectly. So the ski jump just feels like you're getting a nice hug when you're going out into the air. It's hard to receive on a lot of ski jumps, but it was awesome.
I can't imagine what that feels like. I mean, I'm sure you guys feel like you're flying. How fast are you usually going by the time you hit the air?
So it depends on the size of hill. So on large hills for women's ski jumping, in the World Cup level, we usually compete at 92 kilometers per hour, or depending on wind, it changes. And then on a 90-meter hill, which we were training on in Lake Placid, we usually compete anywhere from 86 kilometers per hour to 88. And there's definitely room for shifts in depending on weather and all those things.
Now, I know there's a difference between, what do they call it, the big hill and the normal hill. What are you able to compete on?
So women for ski jumping now, we have World Cups that are both on the normal and large hill. Last year was the first time that the women were allowed to compete on the large hill at World Championships. And this winter, I don't think it's confirmed yet, but hopefully women will have their first large hill competition at a COC level.
And why do you think they don't allow you to do that? Do they think you're not strong enough? I mean, I don't understand why it can't be equal.
The old arguments made by one person that, he claimed that it was unsafe for the women's body. Granted, I think that isn't I think a lot of people disagree with that now, thankfully. But I think it's because people don't think that our sport is developed enough yet, which is easy to dispute.
And what do you mean by developed enough?
By having enough competitors, enough competition, and then having the depth of competition. So the first place person shouldn't be that far off from, let's say, the 30th place. There should be a good range of competitors, and your point difference shouldn't be extreme.
Mm-hmm.
And how do they score when you guys are jumping? What are they
so
looking?
Scores for jumping are based off both distance and style. So there's points allotted for, it kind of depends on the hill, but for how far you go. And then there are 5 judges who rank your style based off of 20 points. And then you knock off that 20 points for every mistake that you make. And then the highest score is not used and the lowest score is not used. So overall there's the 3 judges scores and then your distance points.
And is it Annika or Annika? Am I saying that right?
Annika.
Annika. Okay, so let me ask you this question. I understand that after you jump, your score in jumping dictates your cross-country ski position. Could you share with us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's a bit interesting. So let's say you had the best points, the best style, and you went the farthest. So you start out at 0, 0, 0, 0. And you're off first, and everyone behind, whether how many points you got deducted or your distance. It's calculated with the time that will be like, basically the time will be deducted off of the start.
And then that will dictate where you get to go and where your position is. Is that right?
Yes.
And, share with me, if you would, what is the most exciting part of competing to you?
It's amazing to compete with such a strong women's field. I have friends from a lot of different countries on different teams, and it's amazing to kind of show up all together and show what we have, and kind of show the world that, women's Nordic combined is ready to be in the Olympics and ready to, move on to bigger steps.
I found it ironic, Anna, when you shared, some of the reasons that you've heard as to why women shouldn't be jumping or doing both Nordic combined. Some of the things that I heard were maybe your inner parts are going to fall out, or maybe your women's bodies are too fragile, or perhaps they should just be at home being a good wife and a good mother. Because we have to remember, friends, in the US of A, God bless America, our Constitution says that we all have equal rights. However, in other countries, that's not the case. And those are the people you're competing against. What have you seen and what have you heard in some of these other countries and their aspects about it?
Well, we like to say that ski jumping is kind of like an old boys sport. And so you kind of have to be either in the club or you're out for a lot of countries. And I would argue that in the US, it was like that too. And, I think that it happens everywhere. I think there's issues regarding the differences between men and women in any country you go to, whether it's huge or small. And so, yeah, I think that's what I've noticed the most, is that it's, you either have to be in the club or you're not really in it.
Good old boys club. Yeah. Paige, have you experienced that as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's like by the time that I got into the sport, like women's jumping in the US had made like quite a few strides. So like, I didn't hear about like, how do I explain this? Like, I didn't have anybody tell me like, you probably shouldn't be ski jumping, until I like actually went over to Europe. And I remember my coach telling me about some other coach on another country who was like, I don't think women even belong on the ski jump.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's been nice to like be in like the US bubble where on like USA Nordic, we're all equal, which is great. But like getting out into that international competitive field has obviously been a bit different.
Mm-hmm. Annika, have you experienced the same thing?
I kind of, like I said, I grew with the sport since I started so late. So definitely I haven't, experienced that as much as some girls that started jumping younger. So, I mean, I hear it all the time. I hear stories, but thank God it hasn't, personally affected me yet.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys are blessed in that way. So what opportunities and support is available to help young girls? Let's say some moms are listening and their daughters are listening with them. How can they get started, and what support is out there to help that next generation?
Well, I think on the ski jumping side, USA Nordic has done an amazing job with recruiting and supporting young athletes. We have a great junior program, and it's led by so many great people on our team. And I think that there's so much support. We have special clubs that are started, and we have events and summer camps that we do. We started this one thing called Fly Girls, which was a summer camp that was started, I think in 2014, maybe, or maybe I can't remember the exact year. And then that has now extended to the Fly Kids, which is both female and male juniors that are able to go to Steamboat Springs and to Park City, Utah for a few weeks each, and to train and live together and really get like deep support and directed stuff. And we work with the national team as well. We work with the juniors, and so we do that. Additionally, there is an organization, Women's Ski Jumping USA, that we used to be a part of, and so we used to be different and separate. but Women's Ski Jumping USA does a great job to help fund and to pay out the differences between men and women's pay. And so that's for later on when you're, up in World Cup and doing those things. We get stipends and we get things like that when there's inequality.
And friends, hopefully you listened to part one. Billy was sharing, and then we stayed on with him after the radio show had ended. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. You can listen to that on our podcast once it goes up to podcast after radio, and you can hear him discuss what the dreams would be, the future dreams for financial support, for working with Congress, for really getting this solidified as a sport, so that people who are aspiring and working hard have that goal to know, if I keep trying hard, my country is going to support me in this. So I just find that really exhilarating and exciting. So, and like I said, there's young ladies listening. I'd like to hear from each of you. What words of wisdom would you have for the young girls who want to follow in your trailblazing footsteps?
Well, I guess I can start. I would just say that it doesn't matter whether you're a male, a female, anywhere in between, anything like that. You are welcome in ski jumping, and there's so many older athletes that are here to support you. And I also would like to say too that you need to do what you love, regardless of what people are telling you, regardless of those things. And no one can take that away from you. And if you need more support, there's always people you can ask for it as well. And so I'd say just do what you love and do it fearlessly and unapologetically.
Yes, well said. I agree completely, ladies. What would you say, Paige?
Going off of that, just, stick with what you love, do what you love, and hard work is hard work, regardless of whether or not you're a female or a male. I think, hard work recognizes hard work, and stick with it.
Yeah. Hang in there. Keep working. How about you?
I'd like to encourage anyone to try something that they love to do. It was something super unexpected when I, started ski jumping at 16. So I don't think there's ever a time where it's too late to get into it. If you, just like Anna and Paige said, if you love what you're doing, then just keep sticking with it and don't listen to other people try to tear you down. You're your own person. And if you really want something, you can get it.
I love it. Now, if some of our friends are listening and they'd like you to come and be an inspirational speaker to their events or their committees, etc., how can our listeners locate you?
So we have a great website, usanordic.org, and so you can email through there. I believe there might be a chat thing as well. And so you can email there and reach some of our administrators and people there that can then in turn reach out to us and give us the information. So there's a lot of information on that website, as well as learning about ski jumping and Nordic combined. And so I highly recommend checking out that website.
Can you repeat it again?
Yes, it's called usanordic.org.
usanordic.org. And we're going to have a link on our website, himforher.org. I want you guys to go there. I want you to click on it. It'll take you right there, as well as I'd like to be able to put a link on there for, what's it called? Fly Girls?
Now it's called Fly Kids. And so,
Fly Kids.
Yeah, I think that there might be a link or a page on usanordic.org that also explains what that camp is.
Yeah, that sounds like a great opportunity. So if you could share with me, Annika, what changes would you like to see immediately to promote equality for the next generation in the Olympic sport? If you could just wave your magic wand, what would you like to see?
I mean, honestly, last year was extremely hard. Seeing the guys have many more World Cups than we did. I mean, we had one World Cup, one World Championships, which was a huge step in the right direction. But it's not quite what everyone was kind of looking for. It's hard to, put all those hours you're training and then only have 2 competitions to compete in. So honestly, I would love to see, more competitions throughout the years. Olympics is a big one. We really need to push for it to be in the 2026 Milano, Italy Olympics. And honestly, I would love to see, more little girls, coming on and trying ski jumping and seeing what they think of it. And, I just like Anna said before, there are older athletes above, the smaller kids. And I feel like we're all, opening our arms wide. They can come ask us anything, if they need support, or they're going through some mental, going through competitions or jumping. I think it's important to have role models.
Absolutely. Paige, if you could wave your wand, what would it be?
It would be three things. Same amount of competitions, same amount of prize money, and same amount of viewership.
Viewership, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Viewer.
One of the main reasons that like the committees justify giving us less prize money and less competitions is because they believe that people don't want to watch the women. So I think having people watch the women's competitions, show up to the women's competitions, and really show that they're interested and invested in the women's competitions and the women's field, it would help a lot.
That's an excellent point. Ladies, we all have a TV. You can turn it on, you can watch, they'll follow you, they'll see who's supporting it. And also, I want you guys to write to the Olympic Committee. Tell them you want to see this to be an equality issue as well. Anna, could you share with me, if you would, please, how can our listeners watch the next competitions that are coming up? What are they going to be?
So we actually leave, a few of us leave to go to Russia on Sunday. So over Thanksgiving, we compete in Nizhny Tagil in Russia. And so actually, if you go onto the USA Nordic website, again, they post usually each week a letter and showing you how to view these different competitions. Additionally, you could sign up for a newsletter with USA Nordic, and you'll get a weekly email telling you how to watch each individual competition on your own laptop, television, anything. And so that's how you can watch us and cheer us on.
I love it. I love it. And we need to do that. Paige, how many women are actually on the team? Do you know?
I think our national team is 8 women.
8 women. And how many do they have in the men's?
I don't know. Does anybody else know?
I believe 6 right now.
Okay.
Yeah. I could be completely wrong. The numbers change, things like that change, but I believe 6.
And I'm hoping that the men on our own USA team are supporting you guys in equality as well and speaking up for this fact. I think that's where a lot of it needs to come from. It needs to come from the men. They need to step forward and say, yes, this needs to be equal. We need to talk about that in the Olympics because God bless America. We have a fabulous country. It is an amazing country. I've spoke in prisons around the whole entire world, Africa included. And every time I come back into the US of A, I kiss the ground at the airport because I'm so thankful that we live in the United States of America. It's the best country there is. And friends, there's got to be a time when we decide that everything is going to be equal, and it should start today, especially in the Olympics. Ladies, we're going to be cheering you on. Thank you so much for coming on our show. I'm so thankful for each and every one of you. Friends, I want you to look them up. I want you to go to the website, and I also want you to follow us at himforher.org. You can find us on YouTube as well. You can see these beautiful women's faces. Ladies, I personally am going to be praying for your success, and I expect to see each and every one of you on the Olympic podium. This is Shug Bury. You know I love you. Over and out.